working hard or why you're pushing for more. It only needs to see you succeed. So if you're ready to break free from the cycle of complaining and explaining, if you're ready to reclaim your time and energy for what truly matters, then stick around. What you're about to hear will change the way you approach success, and it might just be the breakthrough you've been waiting for. Let's get started. Number 1, growth demands silence, focus, and unshakable intent. Never complain, never explain. These 5 words can change your entire life. They carry a kind of power most people never understand because most people never live them. But the ones who do, they move different, they think different, and they grow in a way that can't be ignored. Now listen, if you're the kind of person who knows deep down you were made for more, if you're tired of spinning in circles, tired of talking about it, tired of chasing the same results with the same broken effort, this is for you. Because real growth doesn't happen when you're loud. Real growth doesn't need an announcement. Growth demands silence, focus, and unshakable intent. That's what separates the ones who talk from the ones who actually do. You've probably noticed it already. The world is noisy. Social media is loud. Everybody's explaining something. Everybody's posting what they're doing, why they're doing it, and who didn't support them while they did it. You see it all the time, people talking about how hard they're working, how nobody believes in them, how they've been through so much. And yet, when you look closely, the results don't match the volume. Because talking feels like doing something, but it's not. And if you're not careful, you'll fall into that same trap. You'll start thinking that sharing your struggle is the same as overcoming it. You'll start believing that explaining your pain is the same as healing from it, but it's not. The only way to grow is to put your head down and do the work in silence, without applause, without validation, without needing someone to understand your every move. That kind of growth, the one that changes you forever, starts with silence. Not the kind where you shut people out, but the kind where you stop giving energy to things that don't move you forward. You stop needing to be seen, you stop needing to be liked, you stop needing to defend your choices, you just work, you lock in. And that's where most people fall off, because silence gets lonely, growth gets uncomfortable, discipline gets boring. But the people who stay in it, day after day, hour after hour, those are the ones who transform. You have to be willing to go into that quiet space where it's just you and your goals. No crowd, no spotlight, no cheering, just your effort, your consistency, your progress. That's the space where real transformation happens. And it's not glamorous, it's not shiny, it doesn't always feel exciting, but it's necessary. Because focus isn't something you're born with. It's something you train, it's something you protect, it's something you build moment by moment every time you choose your priorities over distractions. Now let me say this clearly. Your focus is the most valuable thing you own. More valuable than talent, more valuable than intelligence, more valuable than charm. Because without focus, none of that matters. You can have the best idea in the world, but if your attention is scattered, if your mind is jumping from thought to thought, if you're always reacting and never creating, you won't build anything that lasts. You might start strong, you might impress people in the beginning, but you won't finish. You won't stay consistent. You won't become what you're capable of becoming. Focus means you say no to things that most people say yes to. It means you don't chase everything that looks good. It means you don't answer every message. You don't explain why you're not available. You don't complain that you're busy. You stay focused because you know what's at stake. You know what you're building. And when you know what you're building, you don't need to justify it to anyone. That's where intent comes in. Because let's be honest, focus without intent is just busy work. Anybody can look productive. Anybody can fill a to-do list. But unshakable intent means you know exactly why you're doing what you're doing. Every step has purpose. Every move has direction. You're not just working hard, you're working right. You're building towards something that matters to you. And that kind of intent doesn't get shaken by opinions, criticism, or doubt. It doesn't fall apart when you hit a rough patch. It doesn't go missing when the motivation fades. It stays steady. It stays clear. It keeps moving forward, even when no one's watching. Unshakable intent is rare because most people don't take the time to really define their vision. They have wishes, they have dreams, they have ideas, but they don't have a plan. They don't have standards. They don't have the patience to stay with something long enough to see it grow. So they bounce from one thing to the next. They get distracted, they make excuses, and they explain why it's not working out. But when you have unshakable intent, you don't make excuses, you make adjustments. You don't explain your process, you trust it. You don't complain about the pain, you expect it. Because you're not looking for easy, you're looking for progress. And here's what you need to remember. Not everyone will understand your silence. Not everyone will respect your focus. Not everyone will get your intensity, and that's okay. You're not building for them, you're building for you. You're not here to convince anyone that your path makes sense. You're here to walk it. You're here to grow. You're here to become someone that your past self would be proud of, and that doesn't require applause, it requires work. So maybe right now, you're in a season where it feels like no one sees you, like no one understands how hard you're trying, like no one appreciates how much you're carrying. And maybe you're tempted to start explaining yourself, to prove your point, to tell the world how tired you are, how much you're sacrificing. But I'm telling you, don't waste your energy there. That's the trap. That's how you lose momentum. Stay quiet, stay focused, stay intentional, because your results will speak one day, and when they do, you won't have to explain a thing. Growth is not loud, it's not public, it's not built on attention, it's built in those unseen hours. It's built in the discipline that no one claps for. It's built in the pain you keep pushing through, and it's built in the silence you learn to respect. So don't fear the quiet. That's where you become who you were meant to be. And when it gets hard, and it will, when you feel like quitting, when you feel like giving up, remind yourself of this. You didn't come this far to stay the same. You didn't fight to survive just to coast. You've got more in you, more to give, more to build, more to become. But you'll never reach it if you keep explaining yourself. You'll never reach it if you keep complaining about the climb. So keep moving, keep building, keep growing, in silence, with focus, with unshakable intent, because that's how you rise. That's how you win. That's how you become unstoppable. And when it's all said and done, they'll ask how you did it. They'll wonder where you came from. And all you'll have to say is, I stopped complaining, I stopped explaining, and I started growing. That's the way forward. That's the life worth living. And that's just the beginning. Number 2, you're not weak for feeling tired. You're strong for not complaining about it. There's something powerful about a person who keeps going, even when they're tired. Not the kind of tired where you just need a nap or a day off. I'm talking about the kind of tired that's deeper, the kind that sits in your bones, the kind that shows up when you've been carrying your responsibilities day after day without anyone noticing, without anyone clapping for you, without anyone offering a hand. That kind of tired doesn't mean you're weak. That kind of tired means you've been strong for too long. And let me tell you something important. Feeling tired doesn't take away your strength. In fact, the fact that you feel that tired and you still choose to show up, you still keep your mouth shut and do the work, that says more about your strength than anything you could ever post or say out loud. In today's world, everyone's trying to be heard. Everyone's trying to be seen. Everyone's got something to complain about. And the louder people get, the more this culture starts to treat silence like weakness. But let me tell you, the ones who are quiet aren't weak. They're just focused. They're just strong enough to handle their problems without putting them on display. They're the ones who don't use their struggle as a badge. They carry it silently. They fight it quietly. And that kind of strength, that's rare. That's the kind of strength that builds a solid life. It doesn't demand sympathy, it earns respect. You've probably had those days where you wake up and you're already drained. You haven't even stepped out of bed yet. And the weight of everything you're dealing with is already sitting on your chest. And somehow you still find the strength to push through. Maybe it's work, maybe it's school, maybe it's family, maybe it's all three at the same time. And you keep showing up. Not because you feel great, not because it's easy, but because you made a decision to keep going. And that's the part people don't see. That's the part no one talks about. But that's where your strength lives. The world will try to convince you that strength means smiling all the time, that it means pretending you've got it all together. But strength isn't fake positivity. Strength is knowing that life is heavy sometimes and choosing to keep carrying the load anyway, even when you don't get credit, even when no one checks in on you, even when it feels like you're the only one putting in the effort. That's strength, quiet, real, unshakable. And you should never confuse exhaustion with weakness. The strongest people I've ever met weren't the loudest. They were the ones who handled more than most people ever knew and never asked for applause. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to keep explaining that you're tired or why you're tired or who's not helping. You know what's making you tired. You know what you've been pushing through. And the fact that you haven't given up yet, that says more about you than any words ever could. When you carry on without complaining, you're building something inside of yourself. You're building endurance. You're building character. You're proving to yourself that you can do hard things, and one day, that strength is going to serve you in ways you can't even imagine yet. There's this dangerous belief going around that you always need to speak up about every struggle, that you have to vent, you have to share, you have to explain. But sometimes the most powerful move is saying nothing and just handling it. Not because you don't feel anything, but because you've chosen to keep your energy focused on getting through it, not getting attention for it. That's not cold. That's mature. That's discipline. That's ownership. That's knowing that life doesn't always offer you an audience when you're hurting, and learning how to be okay with that. And if you're the kind of person who's been pushing through quietly, I want you to hear this loud and clear. I see you, I respect you, because it takes a different kind of strength to be tired and still not fold. It takes grit to walk into work with a heavy heart and still give your best. It takes self-control to be overwhelmed but still choose not to make your problem someone else's. That kind of behavior might not get likes or shares, but it builds a life that lasts. It builds confidence that doesn't shake every time something gets hard. It builds a foundation so strong that no storm can take you down. You've made it through things you didn't think you'd survive, and you didn't scream about it. You didn't beg for pity. You just kept moving. You took the pain, the stress, the fear, and you turned it into steps forward. That's not weakness. That's not just surviving. That's growing. That's leading yourself. That's becoming the kind of person who's dangerous in the best way possible. Because you don't break under pressure. You don't seek approval. You don't crumble when things get hard. You rise. And here's the thing, some people won't understand that. They'll wonder why you don't talk more about your pain. They'll think you're fine because you're not always explaining yourself. But don't let that bother you. You're not here to be understood all the time. You're here to evolve. You're here to level up. You're here to build a life where your peace speaks louder than your complaints. And when you live like that, you don't have to keep proving anything. You don't have to keep telling people how hard it's been. You just keep building. You keep becoming. The moment you stop complaining is the moment you start taking control. Because complaining is a habit, and once you break it, you start noticing how much stronger you actually are. You realize you can face more than you thought. You learn how to deal with problems faster. You stop wasting time trying to be heard and start using that time to move forward. That's a whole different kind of power. That's how you stop waiting for someone to save you and start becoming the person who saves themselves. And maybe you're in a season right now where nothing feels easy. Maybe the weight you're carrying feels like it's too much. Maybe the people around you don't see it. Maybe you feel like it's not fair, but here's what's true. You're not weak. You're tired. There's a difference. And the fact that you're tired and still standing means you've got more strength in you than you know. You're the one holding things together. You're the one staying grounded when everything feels shaky. You're the one putting in the effort no one sees. And you're doing it without turning every moment into a public display. That's power. So keep going, keep pushing, keep showing up, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because there's something waiting for you on the other side of all this, something better, something worth the effort. And when you get there, you won't have to explain how hard it was. You won't have to prove how tired you were. You'll know, you'll feel it in your spirit. You'll carry the quiet confidence that only comes from walking through fire and not making noise about it. That's what this is all about. Real strength, real discipline, real growth. It's not about never getting tired. It's about what you do when you are. And if you're tired today, but still pushing forward without complaining, then you're not weak. You're powerful beyond belief. And that's something the world desperately needs more of. So hold your head high, stand in your strength. Let the tiredness remind you that you're working, building, creating, surviving. And never, ever let anyone